been working, like Jarrett said, since about 6 o'clock in the morning, and I looked at the clock and it was 11 a.m. and I was like, oh, I haven't showered yet. Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, and Tanya made it to a morning event, so this is like, I need a standing ovation.
Okay,
Wait,
Tanya, let's
Not
just.
the morning there, Tanya.
It's not morning where you are.
Thank you.
I was trying to get some credit here.
Hey,
That would be the Hudsons made it to a morning event.
hey, we've been up for 15 minutes.
That's early for you.
Yes, it is.
So we want to thank everybody for showing up. Some of us on the West Coast, bright and Jim, bright and early this morning. For those on the East Coast, you guys are probably having lunch. So I'm going to turn this over to Emily, our social media guru. I'm sure everybody knows her by now. If you don't, Emily, the stage is yours.
This is everyone. There's a lot of people on here. Well, thanks for joining, and thanks to Jarrett and Jen. I'm going to close out on my screen so I'm not distracted. There we go. Thanks to Jarrett and Jen for all of this work, because this has been fun. It's been different. It's been cool to see it come together and see how we can start using the virtual world when we can't all come together as a group. So super, super kudos and props to you. Are you drinking milk, Jarrett?
Yeah, I'm drinking milk, and there's nothing added to the milk. The camp process started.
Not a white Russian.
Really, yeah, I don't know how many of you were able to come in last night to see the video that Don and Cam and Ann did with the notifications as far as what's happening in the RV industry, what's happening with Grand Design, where we stand with COVID. So I'll just kind of do a brief, they're much better at it and much more knowledgeable about all of the other stuff, but I'll just do kind of a brief summary. While COVID has been kicking a lot of people's butts as far as sickness and not being able to travel and just making a lot of things difficult, it is raising the boom in the RV industry. Like, we can't keep up. We have people, and many of them first-time owners, never owned a camper, never thought they would ever own a camper, joining the Grand Design family, because let's face it, they don't know what is going to happen when it comes to travel in the next couple of years. So I know me, like our family personally, has been affected by this. We had a cruise that was scheduled for November that we were super excited to take, and they canceled it. Going to a lot of the rallies and such has been canceled, and this sounds horrible, but I kind of rely on rallies as a break from my normal life. So it's been a little rough, especially when I
thought rallies was your normal life.
Yeah, I wish it was, but this sounds horrible, and I promise you I love my children, but getting away from my kids for a weekend is always fun because I get to go spend it with our Grand Design family. And my kids are in the other room, so I have to be quiet how loud I say that. But it has been extremely rough on those types of things, but it's been extremely beneficial and amazing with the RV industry and seeing what it has done here. So we just had a record month, and we just are selling, and dealers can't keep the units on their lots long enough. But the great thing is that while anyone who's active in social media, of course, obviously knows that you see a lot of the bad instead of the good on social media. I've been living in a very dark world lately, but we aren't faltering in some of the areas that a lot of people think we are. A lot of people are thinking that our quality is going down, we're rushing. We're not, because if you would have ordered a Solitude last year at this time, it would have taken 12 weeks to deliver to you. If you order a Solitude today, it's going to take 12, possibly more, weeks to deliver to you. So we're not rushing through things. We're not bumping up the volume to keep with it. Vendors and suppliers are hard to stay open and stay getting products from. I know Lippert, so we recently partnered with Our Village. In Our Village, we are doing similar things to this, like virtual get-togethers. And Lippert has helped us in the past, and they actually wanted to participate because they're also active with Our Village. And they said that they wanted to do installation of a solid step and show how easy it was to do a solid step. Well, they can't get the parts for solid steps, and so they're on back order. So, I mean, things like that, it's just they're affecting everyone. They're not just affecting the vendors, but they're affecting us, and it's hard for us to keep up with things with our vendors. So, with that being said, I mean, we're being very cautious about COVID. I think I saw Helen with a mask, so we all mask up. We have all of our masks when we go into the office. We're temperature checked before we walk through the door. Hand sanitizing stations everywhere. Every single person with a desk, as well as even those without, were provided a PPE kit. Now, obviously, my PPE kit is going to be a little bit different than what a production line PPE kit is going to be. But example of mine, I got three masks. I got a hand sanitizer, a large bottle of hand sanitizer. We got a spray disinfectant. We got wipes. We got a roll of paper towels. And then as soon as you start to run low, you let people know and they refill you. So I personally am not going into the office. Megan goes into the office a few times a week, but we have kind of been working from home a lot between kids having no school or no options of childcare because they may have closed. It's been a challenge, but we're doing our best to kind of keep up with everything and make sure that everybody gets taken care of the same way they always have. So other than that, there's not too much more going on here, but if you guys have questions, Jared, are you going to monitor questions, pull people off mutes? How are you doing that?
Right now, everybody's off mute, so they can talk freely. For everybody's screen, if you go down to the bottom, there's a little tab that says chat. So if you don't want to say your question, click on that chat button, and then off to the side, it'll pop up a little chat box, and you can type in your question. So both Emily can see it, or I can see it, and give Emily your chat, or give Emily your question as well, in case she's not able to see it and she's talking about something. And then I can take her off of the spotlight one, so she's able to see everybody at the same time, so she's able to see who all is talking directly to her.
Who's got questions?
So I got a question for you.
I have a question, Emily.
Oh, jeez, this lady.
You know, we've had a couple of friends who have said that they've tried to contact Grand Design and they're not getting a response. Are they backed up there, or are they just not responding? What's the situation with that?
So sometimes it all depends on how they've tried to contact. We've got a few different ways. So we have obviously pick up the telephone, call. When you call in, you basically you push some prompts and you get put into what we call a queue. You have an option for a callback. If for some reason you don't want to sit on hold for any reason at all, you have the option of a callback. 97% of the people who press for a callback are receiving a call back and having a conversation with a representative. Now, it's not 100%, so there's still 3% that either A, didn't realize we were trying to call back and didn't answer, B, answered, maybe there was a bad connection and they couldn't get through, or C, it just plain didn't work. So that is one option that you can do. Yes, call volume is a little bit backed up. We are slightly overwhelmed, just as all manufacturers are right now, because of the fact that more and more units are selling, more and more people have questions. while I love our dealer base, we do struggle sometimes with making sure that the dealers send people out fully equipped as far as the knowledge of what you need to own an RV, especially for your first time. We received a phone call from someone who was struggling with their refrigerator. They couldn't figure out why it wouldn't turn on to gas. Well, they have a residential refrigerator. These are the things that we are dealing with, and unfortunately, someone calling in because they may not have read their manual or they may not have had the knowledge of things, calling in like that is creating backups in our call center. So it stinks. This is a very busy time, so it's difficult to keep up with all the what's that thing called? The demand of the phone calls. Now, you can also email. Our emails, we try to answer within 24 hours. If you do not receive an email, either A, we're just slammed, B, it could have been blocked by our like spam or our firewalls, or C, it just disappeared into thin air. And unfortunately, I have no answer for that because that has happened as well. You can also contact us through the website. And just like all internet, it is possible that that gets lost in space. So we are, depending on how they contacted us, we are doing our best to ensure that the people are getting answered in a timely manner. We typically try to have a 24-hour turnaround if you send an email or leave a voicemail message or something to that effect.
Hey, Emily, Bob put in the chat, why doesn't the convection oven exhaust the exterior of the RV instead of recirculating? Do you know why they chose to do that?
I don't personally know why they chose to do that. I know that what we do is we work with the manufacturer of the product, and they are the ones that come over and teach us or show us the best way for installation. And then they continue to audit, meaning they just drop in and check on us to ensure that we are still installing it to their specifications. If that's the case, then that's how they're advising us to install it.
Yeah.
If you have questions like that, there's a couple different ways that you can find out that answer. If honestly, my answer is probably not going to be good enough for that, but there are a couple ways. You can contact the customer support team through those channels that I said, and I can put it in the chat, or actually I can even put it on the Facebook page as to how to contact if you don't know how. But also, I can tell you that you can reach out to our technical forum. We have a owner's technical forum, bdrvowners.com, and they will be happy to research that. And they may even already have an answer for you.
Yeah. And Joe's got a question on the warranty due to COVID, where everything's been shut down. Is Grand Design going to be extending warranties out, since a lot of people have been stuck with not being able to get their RVs in to get warranty work done?
So we don't necessarily extend warranty, but what we would do
Hi there.
if you had
How are you doing?
issue come in,
Sorry, 1 second.
and it was during
Oh my God.
during a time where the dealer was shut down for any reason whatsoever, and you could not get it done, all you have to do is contact our support team. They'll document it for you, and then they'll give you instruction on how to proceed forward. I had somebody who was in a hot spot at the point in May. Their warranty had expired in April. They were super stressed because obviously, I think they were in New York, to be totally honest with you. They couldn't go anywhere. Nothing. I mean, it was just a horrible situation. And they were about a month past their warranty, but there was nothing they could do. So we just let them know that we had it documented. And as soon as things open up, we would work with them. And I'm going to say something really quick. I see some of you guys tuning in, looks like from hospitals and things like that. I need to applaud you, and I need to thank you for everything that you guys are doing out there with what we're going through right now. on behalf of Grand Design, we appreciate each and every one of you. You guys are doing a very thankless job right now between first responders, nurses, doctors, things like that. You guys are doing a phenomenal job, and we appreciate you all. So
Absolutely.
trying to read the questions. I don't think there's anything else. Anybody else have a question? This might be the easiest rally seminar ever.
I have a question.
Okay.
Even prior to COVID, it's taken quite some time still to get parts in general from warranty. And it's just, why does it feel like 2 months to get parts all the time? I mean, it's like a minimum.
So it just depends on the supplier. We don't stock everything in-house, and because we just don't have the room to do so. Think about it, Transcenda, Imagine, Reflection, Solitude, Momentum. That's 5 different lines with sublines, all of them different floor plans with all different pieces and parts. We just don't have the ability to stock everything. So if for some reason our vendor cannot get this, then you're at the mercy of our vendor. It's just how it is. And I did notice some things, which is a little interesting to me personally. I started noticing some particular items have problems pre-COVID. I have my own conspiracy theory on that, and I'll keep that to myself. But I did notice that some things, depending on the product, we were having a rough time getting. Whether or not that's due to just the demand that couldn't be met by the vendors, I don't know. But it sometimes will take, for non-inventory parts, it can take a little bit of time to get them.
I have a question.
Yeah.
During our walkthrough, we found some things that we mentioned to our representative that was walking with us, and he said, I noticed that. I was going to wait and see if you noticed it before I said anything, which then made me feel like, what am I missing now? So he said, I'll take a picture of it and send it to Grand Design, which in 2 months I haven't heard anything back. So I'm figuring that he either never took the picture or he deleted it. But we've found quite a few issues, nothing that affects the operation of the camper, just mainly cosmetic things.
Okay.
So I was wondering if I should just make my list and later on this year take it in to be fixed, or do I need to be contacting you right away to let you know what they are?
So you have a couple of options depending on what those cosmetic things are. Yes, make your list, but I would definitely, when did you, it's Sheila, right? When did you buy?
May.
Okay, I would definitely contact our support team so that they know what you've experienced, okay? And they will tell you more than likely that if you are not being hindered from camping comfortably and safely, then let's hold off until your dealer or you have more time to get it someplace. And then that way you don't lose any camping time. Is it an eyesore? Yeah, it can be. But because of summertime and because of COVID and everything that's going on right now, it's just a matter of should we wait so that we don't have to have it be in a shop for a few weeks and we just get it documented, know about it, and then we can take care of it at a later date.
Okay, one of the things, I don't know if you can see, right here, I'm pointing at, can you see the warping in the...
Hey, Jarrett, can you throw her screen up?
Zoom call.
Just tap on her picture and it brought mine up.
It didn't bring it up.
Which
And
one? Let me. Okay.
door
This is that here.
does it.
I think she left her house, so now she's having some rough.
Yeah, it looks like her videos.
So it's like that.
There she is.
If you go to the top of the page where the person is and you click on the options, you can click pin
Yeah.
video.
It's
Out
not.
of
It's
the,
not letting me.
Okay.
Yeah, her video's cutting in and out, so it's
I
not.
think I
letting
got out of
her-
Wi-Fi.
We think so too.
Sorry.
Sheila, what I would recommend doing, take pictures of the things that you're concerned about and either email them over or call first. And then you can go ahead and email them over to us once they get you set up with a case number. But I would definitely call it and get it documented. That way you know for sure that we'll be able to take care of you once the time comes.
Great. And one other question. I've seen so many different recommendations on tire pressure. Our tire pressure says to be 60. So is that cold pressure? It should be 60 when you're traveling or before you travel?
Think so. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I mean, you want it to be where your tire pressure you want when
Before you travel.
before you start traveling and heat hits the tire. Hey, Jim Henkel, are you on here?
I'm right here.
Hi, Jim.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. You're really good at explaining things like this. I'm fairly good at that, but let's say it's 60 psi before it heats up. Is there anything that they should check once it heats
Loads.
up? You're really
Yeah.
tire-
Wait, you're talking about tire pressures?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. So you want to set the tire pressure when it's cold. So, like I said, if it says 60 psi on the side of the tire and the tire placard, inflate your tires if you can before the sun hits 60 psi. Those tires will increase in pressure during the day from anywhere probably up to 8 to 15 pounds. What you don't want to do is sit there and deflate the tire back down to 60 pounds. The tires are designed to handle that extra heat and pressure load that happens during the day. So you could check them to make sure they're not dropping down. For example, if you set it at 60 and then later on down the road after being on the highway for a while, it's at 58, you're losing air pressure. So put them at 60 when they're cold, leave them alone. Don't let them get below 60 during the day.
Great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So just so you guys know, Jim, I'm totally going to give you a little bit of a push here. Jim is one of our forum moderators on that technical forum that I talked about, the gdrvowners.com. We have 4 moderators that are technical based, and then we have 2 that kind of help monitor with not so technical, more of like a social thing or things like that where people would ask questions that aren't of the technical nature. Well, we have Jim and we have Rob and we have Howard and Brian, and they're all phenomenal and smart in all of these different ways. And so I personally rely heavily on them because they've helped me answer a lot of questions and they've taught me a lot. So, and I hope at some point I've taught them at least 1 or 2 things.
Hey, Emily, you got a question on the chat. Is there going to be electric leveling systems on the reflections? And is it okay to use side stabilizers when you're going to be parked for long periods of time?
Slides.
We mean slide as an SLID? Yes. Okay, so here's a few things. The reflection travel trailer leveling. I have asked Micah about this numerous times because a lot of the other brands that are comparable to the reflection travel trailer are putting it on from the factory. He continues to tell me no, he's not going to offer it because it is an aftermarket additional item that people can purchase if they choose to do so. There's some people that prefer, look at Browning sleeping in the background of Tanya's picture. There are some people who just prefer not to have leveling on their travel trailers. So because it is an option for an aftermarket add-on, then right now, this could change tomorrow, Micah is not adding it. I don't know how many of you know, but we have Finding Our Someday. They are our reflection ambassadors. They are actually currently at Lippert right now getting that installed. So I'll be interested to hear their feedback once they get it installed, and then hopefully we'll post it out to some of the pages so that people can see what that feedback is. As far as slide stabilizers, me personally, I never recommend slide stabilizers. They're really not needed whatsoever. That slide box and the mechanism will support that slide just fine. My true fear with slide stabilizers, I don't know how many of you guys are on social media, but what I see when we have tornadoes and horrible weather ripping through places like Oklahoma, Texas, all these places that are getting horrible weather recently, I see people saying, we're bringing our slides in, pulling in everything, and we're just going to hunker down. If you forget you have a slide stabilizer underneath that slide out room, you're done. That whole slide mechanism, the slide box, everything will be damaged because that slide stabilizer was forgotten about. I've seen people forget about them when they were getting ready to take off and leave for another trip. They are not needed, and there's really no there's really no need for them. So personally, I don't recommend them. And as Grand Design as a whole, we really don't recommend them.
Neither does National RV Training Academy.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm trying to read the anything coming in too.
Emily, another hot topic that's been on Facebook is traveling with your propane on. I know, right?
Sorry. Oh man, I'm not a fan of that either. I know a lot of people that do it. When I first got our camper, so we have an Imagine XLS, for those who don't know. Tiny little thing, no slide outs, no whistles. We love it.
And you can get a lot of people in there.
You can get a lot of people in that thing. We have proof, but in the pictures. But we have a hookup at our house. We have a 30 amp plug, which is what our camper is. So we hook up when we were keeping it at home. We would hook up, 2 days before we were going on a trip to get everything kind of cooled down, make sure everything was working, run the awning in and out. And then get that refrigerator and freezer going. While many people will do that, they worry about when they unplug and head out to their destination. I have been told, now I've never tried it, but I have been told that refrigerator can keep things cold for at least 12 hours. Mm-hmm. At least 12 hours, a minimum. So that was one of my main concerns. I said, so when I unplug from my house, how am I going to keep everything cold? Do I need to turn on my gas? Everyone tells me that's
I see bad. Chris shaking her head no.
Who's shaking?
Chris.
Chris who? I can't see. Who's Chris?
Bob and Chris.
We believed all of that too, and we tried it once, and we lost a whole refrigerator and freezer of stuff.
Okay, but how cold was it when you unplugged?
Started.
It was 30, 33, 34.
And where were you?
In the Southwest.
In the Southwest.
How was it?
So we don't do that. When we travel in the Southwest, we don't. We are one of those bad people who have propane going while we're moving.
Rule breaker? No, I'm just joking. There are plenty of people that do it. They truly do. And bless you for doing it, because I don't like propane as it is. This is me when I don't even keep my propane on all the time. I turn it on when I'm going to have to start my oven or my stove. I go out there and I'm like, because I'm so scared something's going to explode on me. So I do not like propane as it is. So I do everything in my car not to work with it.
We've had it happen twice.
Wait, that it exploded on you?
No.
Oh.
We lost food.
Oh, okay.
After the second time, We said enough is enough.
Yeah.
But we drove from Las Vegas to Salt Lake City, and by the time we got to Salt Lake City, the temperature inside the refrigerator had gotten up to about 54.
Okay.
I live in Tucson. I can take a roast beef and put it in my refrigerator, turn the refrigerator off, and it's fully cooked in 6 hours.
You are not helping the matter.
We can attest
Oh.
to that.
I'd agree with that.
This is kind of a fun rally group because I have not been able to participate with West Coast rally people in so long that I kind of miss the stuff that Jim and the other Jim throw at me as far as giving me a hard time. But I will tell you what.
I'm in Tucson also, and what Jim failed to tell you is that he's also fully cooked in that same time frame.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are too.
It gets a little warm on this side of the country. Our cold out here is when we have to put pants on.
Oh, jeez.
You guys just don't know what hot is.
Jim's like, let me throw you my thermometer. It's 120 degrees on my deck today.
Right now on the deck is 98 degrees.
That sounds amazing, Jim. I like heat, so.
I would normally say
I
jump
like
in
this
the
time of
pool.
the year too.
We're leaving in a week. We're out of here.
I
would
but
normally
I will tell you, for the most part, unless you're in the Southwest, at most part, you can go around 12 hours with that refrigerator unplugged.
In the Arctic.
I would say, and that's not opening and closing it when you stop to have lunch and things like that. So just like if you were to lose power at your home, you have a certain time that you have to hopefully keep your refrigerator and freezer intact and not lose anything without opening and closing it. So, but recommendation for safety purposes would be to travel with it off.
We've found that if you put dry ice in the refrigerator, it works great. Now, we're not in the South, we're in the Northwest, but we can't store it at our house. So when we pick it up, we do turn the propane on if we're not going through the mountains. If we're just going up and down I-5, we put dry ice in it. And by the time we get to Seven Feathers in 3.5 hours, my refrigerator is cold. In 3.5 hours.
Perfect.
That's an excellent solution. If anybody goes to the technical forum, there is a very detailed analysis and experiment that shows traveling in the Southwest with a refrigerator turned off. So it's brought down fully to temperature, 34 degrees, turned off, and within 2 hours, the refrigerator is above 40 degrees Fahrenheit. Within 4 hours, the food is at an unsafe temperature and should be tossed out. But using dry ice inside the refrigerator was the only solution we could find that would actually work.
It's worth trying.
Now, as somebody who lives in the Southwest, let's don't forget that the winters don't get 100 degrees. The winters are in the 60s and 70s.
Oh yeah.
I've used dry ice freezer before to try to get the freezer colder to actually freeze items, but I never heard of it for the fridge.
Hey, Jim, I think somebody asked how much dry ice.
Like 5 pounds.
Yeah, it varies, like Jerry brought up, the temperature will vary. If it's a cool day, you can probably get by with a pound of dry ice. On a warm day, I would experiment, probably start out with 3 pounds. See how it works for you. Make sure you wrap it up in paper and then wrap it up in towel and provide a nice cooling solution. Just keep the door closed, keep the dry ice in there wrapped up, and it should help quite a bit.
Hey, Emily.
It's Arnold Palmer, not a beer, I promise.
On the topic of refrigerators, I know Jim did some testing on an electric refrigerator that ran off of an inverter. Has there been any further developments on that to where it's not a residential refrigerator, but one that ran off of the batteries that would give boondockers a little bit more flexibility?
Jerry, it didn't even run off an inverter. It ran directly off 12 volt.
12
Jared?
volt reefer.
Jared, we run ours when we're traveling off of our inverter. And we've gone like 6, 7, 8 hours running the inverter without any issues.
So what Jared's referring to as far as what Jim was looking at was a 12 volt reefer. Jim, do you remember which brand? Who made it?
It's a Norcold DC10.
Yep. So there has been some prototyping and testing. My fingers are crossed that eventually this will be an option that we go to. But until we can work out all the kinks, we're not just going to go across the board and say, okay, we're getting rid of all these, like the gas or the propane and all this stuff type refrigerators. We have to do plenty of testing to make sure that they're going to hold up and work the way we want them to work in the unit. So, but it is being tested, which is a huge thing because that's huge. I'd take one. Maybe they'll put that in my new camper.
I'm still running on mine and it works perfectly. I pull about 70 amps a day out of the battery, which is fully recharged by solar, and it keeps the food nice and cold without ever having to have a gas supply there.
Look at that.
That's on the dealer end of things. Like in the car industry, all the dealers are franchised, whereas in the RV industry, the dealers are independently owned. Has Grand Design looked at doing something like that, where they have a little bit more control over how they do things to give a better customer service?
Jared, it was really hard for me to hear you. I don't know, there's something in the background?
Somebody's squeaking.
Yeah, somebody's got noise on.
They need grease on an axle.
It's Sean. Sean, you got some kind of squeaking going on.
What I was saying is, like on the car dealership, and if I take my Ram into a dealer, they're networked with every dealer that there is around, and they have protocols and all of that. If one dealer goes bad, Ram basically steps in and goes, you know what, you're done. We're going to bring in somebody else to take over your dealership. In the RV industry, new RV dealers are independently owned. The only, and I know it's really difficult for an RV dealer to go, you're a crappy dealership, we're going to pull out, we're going to find somebody else to sell our inventory. Has Grand Design ever looked at something, or has the RV industry in general looked at going to more of a franchise type dealership system where there's a little bit more checks and balances to bring the dealerships kind of to a higher level of customer service, rather than I'm the only game in town to get what you're looking for, take it or leave it?
Yeah, well, they already strategically vet out the dealers, so that we don't have a flood of dealers in one area and things like that. It's very...
Some people don't know how dealers are chosen, and not just any dealer can have Grand Design products. So you might want to explain that.
I would not be the best person to explain that, to be totally honest with you, because I hate to say this, but my job does not entail working too much with dealers.
Right.
My job is majority of taking care of retail customers and the end users. So I can't really, and I don't want to speak incorrectly. What I will do, Jared, if you can do me a huge favor, can you shoot me an email with that question, if possible, when you get a second? Shoot me an email with that question. I will get the answer from Peter, and then I will post it into the rally page. That's probably the best thing for me to do to get you guys the most accurate information. I just don't want to speak incorrectly. I do know that we do hold our dealers to a higher standard than a lot of other manufacturers, okay? I personally, coming from Lippert, I work with so many manufacturers, and there are a lot of crummy dealers out there, and I am grateful that we don't work with those. our dealer base is a lot better than most, but can still use some polishing, I guess is the best word to say it. And we are working on that. We are working on that in different ways
Wow,
by
beautiful.
having multiple sales reps go out and do dealer training. We bring dealers in, well, this year might be different, but every year in December, we have Dealer University. They come to us, we show them what's new, we train them, we teach them. I mean, and it goes down all the way down to like soft skills and the best way to talk with customers and what customers, that's one of the things they actually use me for. I go in and I tell them, hey, this is what we're seeing as far as dealers and what the complaints are. So what can you guys improve on as far as that? So I will get the answer for you, Jarrett. Just let me get it from Peter to make sure that I definitely say the right thing.
Okay. There's a question in the chat box on if you can update on the upcoming rallies and any changes due to COVID.
Okay, so a little bit. As of right now, Colorado just had to cancel. Good job, David. Colorado just had a last minute cancel. They have a little bit of a hot spot going on out there, and their local government just couldn't make it happen. And you know, it happens. But I think there's still plenty of people going out to camp, and they're still gonna have a good time. So as of right now, fall rallies are still on. The only thing that will change is if the location where that Wagon Master is hosting the rally, any stipulations out as far as group gatherings. Now, with that being said, just because the rally can take place doesn't necessarily mean that we as Grand Design Indiana-based employees can attend. We are on a freeze. We're not allowed to travel. I take that back. We can travel, but let me tell you how much fun it is to do that. You have to drive your own car. You have to document every single person you have come in contact with. So when I stop for gas, I need that gas station's attendant's name, the location, what time I stopped, everything. Because if for some reason I were to become exposed, I would have to have all of that information to either provide out to them or for me to still provide to them and find out if they were exposed first. So it is a horrible situation trying to business travel, and I just ain't doing it. So until they release that travel restriction, we're kind of grounded. We have our phenomenal support coordinators. So we have Phil and Tanya, so they're waving. And of course, Browning, he's kind of like, he comes with the package. And then we have Jim and Carrie. I see Jim. Will you show Carrie's face, Jim?
Well, she's got to get dressed first.
There's Carrie. So we have not put any stipulations on them. What's great about these couples is that they're not technically employed by Grand Design. They are kind of a sublet through Grand Design. So they are longtime Grand Design owners. They know many, many, many of you, and they love rallies. So they are kind of doing what Tim and our dearly loved Julie Reams were doing at one time. And what is going on is that we are still allowing them to make the decision that is in their best interest for these rallies. So if we can't physically travel as far as Grand Design employees, but the rally is still on, the Wagon Master still has full ability to take advantage of the things that we are going to do and supply. So a meal, if it can be safely served, Grand Design swag. This year we implemented rally coins, and I'm so glad that I bought 50,000 rally coins and there's no rallies taking place with a date on them of 2020.
Of course.
But anyway,
we'll just put a little un in front of that, unrallied.
Unrally. So we are still doing those things like we would normally do, but we are leaving it up to those support coordinators to be that presence on site. And when I say Grand Design personnel, I mean, that means everything, even service technicians. The things that these service technicians have to do in order to service a unit in the field are unbelievable. We're talking, they have to be in PPE. They have to knock on a door. The people have to come out of the unit. We have to go in. That technician has to go in, disinfect everything with a sprayer, come back out, let it settle, go back in, do the repairs, sanitize again, come back out, try to get that person to sign off on something without contracting anything. It's ridiculous. So for them to do that at a rally just makes my head spin. So a lot of weird things happening this year, and honestly, it could be a day-to-day change. I love our VP, Jerry, because every time I ask him, hey, we've got this rally coming up, what do you think? He goes, ask me tomorrow. Because what happens with his answer that day could change the very next day. So we play it by ear.
Emily, also explain a little bit, like if it, like with Colorado, it turned from a rally to a gathering.
Gathering, yeah.
And with us going there, what Grand Design feels about a gathering at that point.
So gatherings are a little bit different from rallies. If you choose to go over to a gathering, or if the rally goes over to a gathering, more than likely Grand Design's still going to go ahead and provide you guys with some swag and some goodies, because, you know, we already have those, and let's just get them out because y'all are gathering and having a good time. But because of the fact that they have chosen to do something like a gathering, and they're not going to have seminars, they're not going to have group get-togethers, we just prefer as it be just basic camping fun. We don't host anything. The support coordinators have strict instructions that if they do show up, it is completely by choice, and they are there as a guest. They are not there to help anyone, to entertain anyone. They are there to enjoy the company of fellow Grand Design owners. And it's hard because it's uncharted territory. Yeah, we've had plenty of gatherings in the past. People hit me up all the time. Hey, I'm getting together with 15 other coaches. Do you think you could send us like 15 hats or whatever? And sure, no problem. But what we do for rallies is just above and beyond what a lot of other people do. We would not do that for a gathering, if that makes sense. Anybody else?
So speaking of rallies, the last time you were on the West Coast was quite a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And when all this is done, when are you coming back out here on the West Coast to have some fun? Because we have a reputation for kicking things up a little bit and making some noise.
I know. I hate to fly. I think that's what holds me back is I don't like flying.
Hey, Jared, she also missed Bob's rally last year.
Did.
You're on the East Coast and you missed a rally like 5 feet from your door.
I know. I forget. I think, I was sick. I had all these things going on, and they had all these tests done by doctors, and the doctors couldn't figure out what the heck was going on. And so I just didn't feel it was safe for me to go at that point in time. But I am not making any promises, so you guys cannot hold me to this.
Yeah, right.
But
she was the first COVID patient last fall. There it is.
I fingers crossed that everything is cleared up with all of this, and I will be at the Southern California rally.
You said that before, and then I thought you canceled.
Well, no, because it falls over spring break. So I'm figuring that we will come out, we will spend some time as a family before the rally visiting Southern California, Disneyland, hopefully if they're open, and just seeing beautiful Southern California, and then I will come to the rally. So that's my fingers crossed, hopefully.
You should.
Well, the last time you
The
came, it was
resort that
raining.
we're going to be at for Southern California, where approximately, if there's no traffic, you're about 25, 30 minutes from Disneyland.
Don't tell my kids
And
that.
we have some things that we got planned for that rally that's going to be quite fun.
It is a plan. There's a lot of places that I would love. While I have my own feelings about certain things, there are some things that I would love to show my kids in the great state of California. I would love to see the Walk of Fame with the stars. I want to go see the touristy stuff that, you never know, one day it may not even be around anymore. So I'd love to show them that stuff and then make my way to the rally. So that is a hope. My fingers are crossed. It just depends.
I'm going to hold you to it, because I'm going to edit this video to where everything that you said that might be hope, I'm going to edit that out. So all anybody's going to hear is, I'm coming to California.
Thanks, Jared.
Wait, Jared, I'm coming to Southern California.
Oh, that's right. I'm coming to Southern California, and I will be at the rally.
I truly want to get there. So Jim Hudson just said the last time I was in California, which was the only time, and I worked for Lippert when I went to that rally. It was raining, and I showed up to Sacramento Airport and got to the rental car place. And I looked at him as he took me to my car. I was like, it's raining. And he's like, you're in California, right? And I'm like, yeah. I was like, this is the first time I've ever been here, and it's going to rain. And he said, we don't complain about rain in California. And I was like, well, I do. And it rained the entire weekend. I saw nothing.
I still apologize for that.
That was a muddy mess.
That was a muddy mess, yeah.
And that was the first time that I had ever physically met our now service tech, Chris Desitel. He was working for B&B, and I had worked with him multiple times over the telephone with Lippert. And I walk over there, and he's like, I know you. And I was like, I've never been to California before, so I don't think you know me. He's like, we've talked many times. And they introduced themselves. I was like, get the heck out of here. Not a year, but in 2018, when I joined Grand Design, 2018? 18?
Yep.
Yeah, 18.
Yes. Yeah.
I was in my orientation. I walk in, I sit down, lo and behold, who's 2 rows in front of me? Chris. We started on the exact same day when we went over to Grand Design. So we have a bond. We have a special bond.
So we're coming up on 10 o'clock here. Has anybody else got any more questions for Emily?
Hey, Jared, there's something there about a seat warmer not working, and I've got the same problem. Somebody sent in a chat.
Oh, the recliner?
I'm trying to look.
The heater on the theater seats failed.
Yeah, that's it. Can you answer?
Here's the thing. I can tell you that I have seen this. I don't see it super often, but I see it often enough where I should probably find out from Lippert why that happens. I have been told a couple different things. Sometimes it just comes unplugged, and there's like a little mechanism underneath there that needs to be plugged back in. Other times, that element just goes out and needs to be replaced. Depending on warranty, you can reach out to our customer support. We're always willing to see what we can do. But sometimes, and I don't usually suggest this, but just because I know that there is the possibility of just us being kind of busy, you can always contact Lippert support. They're very willing to help you. And they can also maybe troubleshoot it a little bit better than what our team would. We would typically document it and say, let's get this over to Lippert and see what they come up with. But if you take that out of the middle part and go right to the source, you might get an answer on that. There was something else that I
don't know.
to.
It's a question and answer. Yeah. Sorry.
Sheila, I am not on the East Coast. I'm actually in Indiana. I am about an hour southwest of the actual Grand Design plants. I live about an hour away from the office, so. But yeah. If you guys don't have any more questions, I'm gonna let you guys go and finish up the rally. I have to get a kid someplace and probably feed them because they're probably starving.
We'll see you in Southern California then.
I should have never
I'm looking
said
forward
anything.
to it.
I should have never said anything. I will tell you, Jarrett, I will get that answer for that dealer question from Peter. And if anybody else has any questions, feel free to pop them into that virtual rally and just tag me. Or if somebody else is in there, if you can't tag me, somebody else can tag me, and I'll see what I can do as far as answering.
Emily, thank you for all that you do for
Thank
all the
you.
owners.
Thank you guys. Y'all make it a lot easier to do this because we've got the support of some pretty awesome owners and wagon masters and everything. So you guys are awesome. So
next time you need to have Megan with you on a virtual like this.
She is actually I wanted to say that Megan is awesome. She came on almost a year ago. She's been helping with things. She is in an extremely extensive training. So she's been in training the last 2 days with technical training with our new trainer. I think, Jarrett, when are you doing the Randy seminar? Or did that already take place?
That is, let me pull that schedule up. That
I don't
part
have it in front
is
of me.
going to be, the main one is Sunday at 3 p.m. Pacific.
Okay, so if you guys tune in to Randy at 3 p.m., that video that he's doing, he is our new technical trainer, and he is training our entire call center. We are going back to the basics, and everybody's learning everything so that they can properly help people when they call. Well, Megan is attending. I'm going to be attending. We just had to go on opposite days, so. But that's where she is today.
I'm sure she's very happy about it.
I know. She's a little bit of an introvert.
She's breaking her shell.
Yeah. So, well, guys, I appreciate it. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. And truly, truly thank you. And we appreciate everything you guys do. So.
Bye, Emily.
Bye, Emily.
Bye,
Thank you.
Emily.
Bye.
Thank you very much, Emily. If everyone wants to come back on about 10:30, we're going to have Torque Lift on here. So we'll see everybody in roughly half an hour.
Perfect.
Okay, bye-bye.